talk today, let me introduce about myself. My name is Tan Sri Hafiz Haikabi Abdul Rahman. I was born in Muar Johor at 15 May 1947 and now I am 75 years old. When I was 24 years old, I am the recipient of the Bachelor's at the University of Malaya in the majors of Economics and Malay Studies in 1971. Well, I was the previous Prime Minister, which is the 8th of the 9 Prime Minister in our beloved country, Malaysia. I served our country as a Prime Minister for 1 year and 6 months from the 1st March 2020 until the 21st of August 2021. For your information, Prime Minister is one of the executive bodies for the Federal Constitution that have the power to govern the country. As a Prime Minister, I was known as the Chief Executive and the head of the government. In my career as the Chief of Executive, I am the one that will advising the Yang di-Pertuan Agong to appointment the Federal Minister, Federal Deputy Minister, Parliamentary Secretaries. As the Prime Minister, I am usually the leader of the controlling party or controlling coalition of political parties in the Dewan Rakyat. So today, I will talk about the role and function as a Prime Minister. As the head of Chief Executive, I am the one that will advise the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. For example, I will advise the Yang di-Pertuan Agong about the appointment of 24 out of 70 senators. As we know, the Senate consists of 70 members. The membership is made up two categories, which are 26 of the members who are elected by the State Legislative Assembly that represent the 30 states in Malaysia, and each of the states will represent 2 members. The 44 members is appointment by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Hence, I as a Prime Minister will advise the Yang di-Pertuan Agong to appoint the 44 members, that is including of 2 members from the Federal Territory of Kuala Lumpur and 1 member of each from the Federal Territory of Labuan and Putrajaya. Not only that, as a Prime Minister, I am the one that summoning and adjourning the sitting of this Dewan Rakyat. As a Prime Minister, I was entitled as the leader of the House. When the Parliament is adjourned, it is reconvened if only there is a request from me. If I am not able to reconvene the Dewan Rakyat because of the public interest required the House to meet earlier from the date that have been adjourned, I need to appoint a Speaker who is represent me as a leader of the House. Next, I will talk about the challenges that I face as a Prime Minister. One of the challenges is to establish the political legitimacy and institute reforms. When I became the Prime Minister, I need to gain public trust and confidence through the appointment, the cabinet ministers and the key leader. I need to ensure that the cabinet is competent in order to serve our country. This is challenges because there might be corruption cases that happen among the leaders. Not only that, the challenges need to be faced is to strengthen the race relations. Racial segregation is a time bomb that needs to be avoided by the government. Strong political will is needed to implement economics, political and institutional reforms to move Malaysia forward in highly competitive and disruptive regional and global environment. Next, I will talk about the advantage of being a Prime Minister. When I became a Prime Minister, one of the benefits is about my salary. My salary as a Prime Minister is 22,000 ringgit Malaysian per month, and my salary per year is about 264,000 ringgit Malaysian. By having this money, I can use it not only for my family welfare, but I also can use to help the citizens who need it. Not only that, when I resign my position as a Prime Minister, I will receive allowance that have been fixed by the government, by the cabinet. For example, I will receive the vehicle with the driver, monthly pension about 4,000 ringgit per month, and a secretary.
Let me explain briefly about myself. My name is Datuk Sri Aina Sofia. I was born on 1st August in Sarawak. I have graduated on bachelor degree from the University of Birmingham and a master degree from the University of Surrey, where I am the Member of Parliament in Malaysia. And in your information, Parliament is the legislative body for the federal government and it makes laws that can be enforced throughout the country. In my career, I also serve as a forum to discuss matters of public interest to enable Parliament to carry out its responsibilities fully and more efficiently. So today, I will talk about my role and function as a member of Parliament. It is the legislative authority for the Federation and it enacts law to the enforce nationwide. As a member of Parliament, I usually make law and debate public policy. I am the one of the participate in debate in Parliament to make law or to discuss policy issues that are important to the people of the state. I also sit on parliamentary committees where I can product detailed inquiries to legislation into bills and social policy issues, make recommendations that can influence outcome in the Parliament. The member of Parliament like me is often represent political parties. The majority of members belong to the political party and contribute to the view and policy of that party. Then, I also be able to represent the constituents in this country. Normally, I seek to address concern, issue, question, and ideas raised by the people that they represent in their electoral region and district, their constituent. This may require a member to ask a question of a minister in the parliament or contact a public sector agency to raise an issue about constituent concern. Since I become a member of parliament, I realized that in this occupation there are various challenges that I have to face, such as how parliament have played an essential function in the policy debate during the crisis. In particular, the decision and debate about the type of economic measure that should be put in place to avoid economic collapse and personal hardship, while restrictive measures were in place that could of economic activity. And how Parliament deals with the issue of providing government with special powers during the crisis in order to respond to emergency situations and to enforce intention public health measures. It showed that some Parliament effectively constitutes and amended emergency powers legislation to ensure that it was limited in time and scope, while shifting operation briefly to enable safer functioning is a challenge for any parliament. The implementation of virtual solutions such as online meeting is a particular challenge for many parliament developing countries and researching democracy. Alright, now let me give you an exposure on the advantage of being a member of parliament. Firstly, responsible government. Responsible government is another term for the parliamentary system of government. All other members of the legislature address issues at the public concern and national importance. The position must be powerful enough to call out the prevailing government error and efficiency to ensure accountability. Second, cooperation between the executive and legislative branch. The executive is the part of legislature under a parliamentary system, and the dominant party usually has grip in parliament, making it easier to pass and enforce law and policy. Lastly, deserved representation. People from various backgrounds, ethnicities, faith, race, and genders live in many countries across the world. Because every group is presented in the legislature, be the one of the parliamentary system is best equipped to accommodate all these various groupings. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Before I go to the main point, allow me to talk a little background about myself. Well, people call me as the White Honorable Thamsri Ismailida Ismail. I was born on December 4 in Kuala Lumpur. I have graduated from University of Malaya with a Bachelor of Laws first class honors. I attended a Master of Law from the London School of Economics and Political Science and PhD from University of Malaya. So I am the Chief Justice of the Federal Court and I hold the highest position in Malaysian judicial system. Well, as you know, I am the first woman equals among the judges of the federal court and the position differs little from that of the other judges. All judges, including Chief Justice like me, are appointed by the Yang di-Pertua Agung on the advice of the Prime Minister of Malaysia. So, what is my role and function? So the role of the Chief Justice is defined in the Federal Constitution under Article 122. 1. The Federal Court shall consist of person president of the court referred to as the Chief Justice of the Federal Court. I am the one who must be responsible for the administration of the court and allocated cases and distributes judicial workload. Also determines the appropriate protocols regarding access to courts such as the Federal Court COVID protocols. The pivotal role of the Chief Justice like me is aid as reference between conflicting parties. I have to make the final decision regarding whether someone is guilty or not to solve legal disputes and to ensure justice. As primary duties, I must preside over all arguments before the Supreme Court and set the agenda for the court's meetings. Pursuant to Section 11 of the Code of Judicature Act 1964, revised 1972, the Chief Justice like me may also make rules for the appointment, conduct, fees to be charged by and for all things appertaining to CFO, which are covered under the Commissioners for Oath Rules 2018. Well, when I became a Chief Justice, I instantly loved the job and felt well suited for it. But I did not fully appreciate some of the challenges during performing my duties and responsibilities. I realized early in my term that I had allowed myself to become physically and emotionally isolated. This isolation led me down a dark path as a result of a combination of personal challenges combined with a series of particularly troubling cases I had with you consecutively. I acknowledge that the judicial transformation and reform which were implemented by the former Chief Justice are a continuous process and require commitment and adaptability to rise above difficult times. Since physical presence was not recommended during the COVID-19 pandemic, I must use modern digital technology to conduct proceedings online. To ensure that this passage of justice continued was a bold and iconic move of the day for me as Chief Justice. What are the advantages and benefits if you become the Chief Justice like me? Well, it has the future outlook. Why? Since there will always be conflicts between people, so the judges like me always be needed. Next, I can make this world a little bit fair. In general, I will also have the power to make the world fair as a Chief Justice. It will be in my hands to make a proper judgment of the situation and to punish people who broke the law. Me as Chief Justice, I have the highest salary among other judges. I am the most powerful person in the Supreme Court because according to Constitution of Malaysia 1957 under Article 125A, 1. Notwithstanding anything contained in this Constitution, it is hereby declared that A. The Chief Justice of the Federal Court and the judges of the Supreme Court may exercise all or any of the powers of the judges of a high court. Thank you.